Welcome to the Ask Us Sports Podcast. I'm with my boys Kembo J Slice and Andrew Viggy Betts Vigilati. It is boys, it's my last show in my 20s. Our next show I'll be officially 30. Sad day. But I'm catching up to you guys. Ken, how was the weekend, brother?
It would be awesome if I could pause and let you catch up, but unfortunately it doesn't work that way. I keep getting older. It's all downhill from here, man, really. They do say that, and I always kind of believe, yeah, whatever. But it's true. When you hit 30, you feel 38. It's just you go from 29 to 38. But the weekend was great. Other than that, what was last weekend? Thanksgiving and Black Friday, and I was lazy, man. I didn't go out of my house for 2 straight days, I don't think, as I recovered. But it was good. R&R.
Andrew, how was the Thanksgiving? And tell me one thing you got from Black Friday. Well, we got to unmute you first. There you go.
Great to be with you guys as always, Shane. Thanksgiving was fantastic. Had some nice family over and got to watch a lot of great football over the weekend, specifically college on Saturday. It was utterly fantastic. Rivalry weekend in college football is like no other weekend in sports. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. And what was the one thing you got from Black Friday?
A commute to my office because I had to work.
Ew. Did you have what was the highlight from Thanksgiving? Anything tasty? You get any new food?
We catered from Cracker Barrel, and
how was that?
It was really good, actually. The stuffing was pretty. For me, stuffing is my favorite, so I'm most critiqued about stuffing. It was soft, it was moist, it was really good. You get 2 turkey breasts, so you don't get the whole thing, but you get all the fixins. You get stuffing, mashed potatoes, mac and cheese.
You don't get any dark meat?
We talked about mac and cheese on the show last week. No, we did not get any dark meat. That was probably the one downer from it, but you know what? We didn't have to cook. My wife didn't have to stress about it. It was nice, happy wife, happy life. We had good family, good food, good football. Can't complain.
Fair enough. Ken, what was give me your favorite dish from Thanksgiving and one thing you bought on Black Friday?
You know what? Shit, I actually bought one thing on Black Friday, but
it could be Cyber Monday technically.
Well, it wasn't for me. It was for the missus, and she's right in the other room, so I don't want to say what it is too loud.
That's fair.
Now, what did I listen to the show too? So I wouldn't even divulge it.
True.
I would just say it on the group chat. She could always watch it.
I
saved you.
I didn't buy much myself. I did look into some things, but I don't know. It was a down year all around. I heard Black Friday was down this year, but Thanksgiving was good. What my favorite thing? The mother-in-law did do a bang-up job on the stuffing this year. That was for sure. It gets hyped up a lot, but it was really good. Honestly, there was a full turkey, and only probably 4 out of the 8 people actually like turkey. Really weird. I know the weirdos don't like turkey, but I had so much leftovers that you guys should have seen my cats. In heaven, I think. That was legitimately. I think it's their favorite food. They haven't been the same for days. They're now audibly begging for food as opposed to just staring at me. Now they're just sitting there like crying and moaning.
Please give me turkey.
just wanting the turkey. So that was the highlight for them for sure. I brought home a lot of it, and they ate more turkey than probably some humans do. So quite a
That's
day.
fair. Our turkey was really good this year. We deep fried it, so it was different, but really good. Andy's gonna kill me for this, but the best thing that I ate was the bean casserole. I love green bean casserole.
Hey man, I don't kill any for it, man. It's not one of my favorite things to eat.
It's nobody's favorite.
It's the best thing. It's so good.
It's all good, man. If you like it, that's great. Yeah.
And no one makes it like my family because everyone uses mushroom soup. You got to use the cream of chicken soup. That's so much better.
Do you not like mushrooms?
No, I like mushrooms, but
okay.
It's just the way they've always made it since I was a kid.
I pictured you as a type of guy who wouldn't.
No, I like sautéed mushrooms on my burgers, on my steak. I'm a sautéed mushroom kind of guy. I like mushrooms on my Phillies. Andy is doing something. He's scheming because I can see his devilish smile.
No, I just got called cute by one of our viewers.
Oh my God, Jesus.
No way.
I told him he should come on the show and tell me that.
Who is it?
I'll let him come in if he wants.
Just tweet out the StreamYard studio link.
No, I did not do that. I want him to come
just
in
tweet
and
it
put
out
in the
so everyone joins again. Black Friday, I got a couple things for myself. I got a few Switch games that were on sale, and then I did buy my nephew that listens to the show, Braden. I did buy his Christmas gift on Black Friday. I got a really good deal on it, so I won't say because he does listen from time to time. But yeah, overall, really good holiday, I think. It was strange because Walmart and Target weren't open. You know how they typically for Black Friday open?
Yeah, that is
Thanksgiving, and they stopped that. It's not 5 a.m. the next morning.
I think that's great.
I think it's awesome too.
Yeah, no, I think that's great.
I'm thankful that they took away the temptation to go out and do it.
Nobody needs to go out Thanksgiving night and wait for hours on end to get the best sale.
You're absolutely right, but I used to do it pretty frequently.
Not when there's so
I was going to say, I did it too. Whenever I had Thanksgiving off, I always did it.
That's how I got my TV like that. I got one of my systems like that. I can't remember.
Because I think it's in my opinion, it's easier to go out after doing dishes for Thanksgiving, because like everyone's gonna go home anyways, than to wake up at 4 a.m. and get out of bed to go buy something at 5 a.m.
Yeah, I'd much rather stay up instead of wake up early.
When you turn 30, Shane, material items don't matter as much.
That's true. I have it's been a slight, like I said, you turn 30 and it's 30. It's 30. It's 29 going on 38. I'm telling you, you turn 30 and all of a sudden your back hurts when you wake up in the morning.
But you guys are crazy.
I'm not, man. You'll see.
Moving into
I scared him.
The beginning of the show, because we don't want to talk about Shane turning 30. I think I'm gonna skip my birthday this year.
You should.
Let's talk about the MLB Hot Stove. Andy, I'll start with you. Obviously, the biggest news on the Hot Stove is the Rangers just spending lots of money this year. I don't think I've ever seen the Rangers spend this kind of money. Maybe the Alex Rodriguez years.
Rodriguez, there you go.
Yeah. Otherwise, we haven't seen them be big players like this in a long time since Mark Teixeira. What are we thinking here?
I mean, I've brought this up on the show over the last couple of weeks that the Texas Rangers were going to be in on marquee free agents. The one where you slept through the entire show. That was Ken and I's. Big topic of conversation was the Texas Rangers and how we expected them to be a big-time player in this year's free agency, whether it was going to be a Carlos Correa or a Trevor Story or obviously now a Corey Seager and Marcus Semien. Over $500 million combined between those two guys over the course of 17-year combined contracts. And then you add in John Gray, who got a 4-year contract with the Rangers coming over from the Rockies from a starting pitching standpoint. I think it's fantastic. I think really that division could be up for grabs now. When you look at is Houston's time as dominant team in the AL West coming to an end with losing Correa. It's interesting to see. You got the Mariners who are making strides, adding Robbie Ray, and they're rumored to be in on Chris Bryant and some others. They did acquire Adam Frazier from the Padres, so that could be their everyday second baseman. So they definitely are making moves as well. So you got Texas and Seattle in the AL West. You have the Angels in on some guys, but haven't really made some big moves yet other than Syndergaard. So that'll be interesting to see. So, yeah, I mean, just a lot of moves that the Rangers are making. They feel like they can strike while the iron's hot and create some electricity in their fan base again, which I think is great for the game.
Ken, I know the Rangers went out and signed John Gray, so they've got a pretty, they've added to their pitching staff. Do you think they could go out and add another bat? A lot of people aren't talking about Castellanos. Everyone's really talking about Bryant and Story and Correa as the big names. But I think a lot of people are sleeping on Nick. Do you see the Rangers maybe making a move to solidify that outfield?
I think they should, and I think they have to. I don't think it's worthwhile to spend all this money on two guys if you're not really trying to go all in and compete. And I said this to you guys before we went on the air that even after you look at the roster with Seager and Simeon, it's still pretty gross, honestly. Their active roster is not good, honestly. I would have been hard-pressed to name 5 of the starting 9 going into September last year. I know they have like Nate Lowe and a couple of other decent pieces.
Adolis Garcia is a guy I like in that lineup too, especially when you add in the talent of a Seager and a Simeon. I mean, he kind of dropped off when they traded Gallo last year because he really lost his protection in the lineup. So I think Garcia could be a big name. Don't forget about Isaiah Connor-Falefa there as well. I like him a lot, Nathaniel Lowe. So there's some guys there. You put them in that lineup. I think that they're a lot better with those 2 big guys in there.
They have a giant hole in the outfield. I don't think they have enough able-bodied outfielders.
They added Cole Calhoun as well. Just putting that out.
Oh, did they? Okay, yes. So that's one piece. But so that's where I was going to go with this is that I don't necessarily think a big splash is necessary. Like a Castellanos, there are other guys. They could look at some of those key cogs from the Braves World Series run. Guys like Soler and Rosario could fit that mold for them as well. I don't think it necessarily needs to be a giant splash. I think they've gotten 2 of their guys. Now it's just about how do you fill in some of the lineup pieces around it to make sure that your lineup's competitive. I still don't think they have a competitive enough lineup. They lack a middle-of-the-order power bat. That's what I think they probably should look into adding, and it needs to go in the outfield because I think the infield's pretty set at this point. That's what I would expect from the Texas camp anyway. But I do like the Mariners plug, and I think the Mariners are getting slept on a little bit in the sense that a lot of people are talking about the moves that Detroit is making and how it's sort of cultivating with these big prospects hitting the majors at the same time, and it's going to just come together and just form this juggernaut team in Detroit. You're looking at the same thing in Seattle. It just isn't getting talked about as much for some reason because Kalnick's already gotten the call. And I think Julio Rodriguez, you're still going to be waiting a little bit to see him in the majors. But if they continue to add these pieces, they do still need a shortstop badly. They need a middle infielder. They need some pitching depth badly, in addition to Noah Syndergaard. But the Mariners are a sneaky up-and-coming team, too, that if these prospects pan out and they bring in some big anchoring bats and some pitching depth, this is going to be a team that also gives some run in the West. Considering the Angels are also very competitive, you're probably looking at the A's selling and hitting the basement in terms of the AL West. I don't think Houston has a stranglehold on the other 3 teams, though.
I'm actually. I was just going to say before. I'm actually high on J.P. Crawford, the shortstop for the Mariners. I like him a lot. He provides that kind of top of the lineup presence where he gets on base. He's a base stealer. He's solid defensively at short. I think if the Mariners can add a corner infield bat like a Chris Bryant, that would go a long way towards really their roster for 2022, especially when you're going to lose a Kyle Seager.
From what they say, they like Ty France, but they don't have a third baseman either, I don't believe. I think Abraham Toro is the
and he's a solid piece, but not – I would much rather have a Chris Bryant in there, and then you can mix and match Toro in different positions.
I believe J.P. Crawford can be moved too. I don't remember, but I don't know if he can.
Crawford's a fan favorite. Remember, he was. I want to say he was a top 5 prospect in the Phillies organization.
He was, yes.
In the MLB. He's got the high end speed like his brother Carl.
Cousin, I think it's cousin.
Cousin. So he's got the high end speed. He hits well. Again, he's a fan favorite. The Mariners fans seem to love him. So I definitely think it's worth keeping him around. I think he played some center field last year too, if I'm not mistaken.
He had a 3.8 WAR last year, career high. So that just goes to show you.
But you also, like Ken's point, with the Mariners prospects all kind of joining at the same time, similar to the Detroit Tigers. You've got Julio Rodriguez coming. I think he's a year away. And then you've got Starling Marte, who's probably a year away as well, who is their future shortstop, in my opinion.
Did you say Starling?
I think that's his name, Starling Marte, isn't it?
Oh, it is?
Or not Starling Marte, I'm so sorry. Noelvi Marte.
Yeah, Noelvi, yeah.
You've got Noelvi Marte coming up, who is, I think, could be better than Julio Rodriguez. Ken thinks Julio Rodriguez is Ken Griffey. He could be. He definitely could be. He's a hitter.
Noelvi is not going to be better than my man Julio.
But Noelvi is good, man.
I think he is. He is.
So we're going to see those. The Mariners have some players, man. Emerson Hancock's coming up. You've got George Kirby. Quite a few different players that are getting ready to all hit the majors at the same time. So the Mariners are definitely a team to watch out for in the West. I don't think the Astros are going to have that locked handle that they've had in the past. Because my bold prediction is that they don't get Story or Correa. I think they miss out on a shortstop completely. Where Story and Correa go, who knows? I think Correa is destined for the Yankees. And I think Story either goes to the Rockies or he surprises us with a team we haven't heard of yet.
You think Story and Bryant are going to team up? Or only if they go to Colorado?
Maybe. I mean, the Rockies want both of them.
Right.
That was the story that broke today, that they're reaching out to both of them, and they'd love to bring them both in. But do the Rockies have the team to make that work? I don't know. I mean, I know they have Zach Veen coming up, but beyond him, I don't know much about their minor league system. I know Ken has some insight from some of the breaks he got the Rockies in.
Yeah, they're usually the team nobody wants, and you get them for $3 or $4. So that tells you anything about their pipeline. But no, don't they have? They also have Drew Romo too.
Yeah, Andy, do you think if the Rockies were to land Bryant and Story, that makes them somewhat competitive in the NL West?
It would be shocking to me if that happened. It seemed like Trevor Story pretty much said his goodbyes and everything to that organization and kind of checked out after the trade deadline, let alone coming back. He might have to take one of those short-term deals with another team. You know, if it's not going to be Detroit, it could still be Houston. I think that Story could go, but a Story could fit the market for what Houston could put out there.
Now,
they're not going to pay Carlos Correa that type of money that Seager got. That's just not going to happen.
Call me crazy here, but the Dodgers, if they miss out on Freeman, because I think Freeman after the work stoppage will be the next big name to go. Call me crazy here, but I think the Dodgers potentially end up with Story, maybe on a 2-year deal or even a 1-year deal, just to get him back in. And I mean, sometimes these older, I mean, he's not super old, but these older players will take these 1-year deals to win a title. And they've got to make something up, right? They
I
lost.
agree with you. I don't agree with the team.
Seager.
Are the Dodgers that much of a lock?
I don't disagree with you on the premise. I disagree with you on the team. I just don't see the Dodgers adding another middle infielder. I know they have Gavin Lux at second. They have Trey Turner at short. I mean, I could see.
Well, remember they pushed Lux to center field last year.
They could, but you obviously saw his deficiencies in the outfield during the postseason. Yeah. So I think they really want to stir that up.
The last 2 years.
I mean, I think he's better at second base, to be honest with you, if you're going to play him every day. If not, you've got to trade him to get some sort of pitching, because that's really where their problem is right now. That's where their question marks are.
Dodgers.
For the Dodgers is they're starting pitching after
which is crazy, because look at what we were saying about their pitching rotation at the deadline this past year.
Max Scherzer.
It's always deep. It's just not.
Max Scherzer's gone. There's very, very big question marks if Trevor Bauer will ever be back with the organization.
Oh, Ken, I want your opinion on that.
David Price is basically out of there. He has no role, very limited, if any, role for the Dodgers. Clayton Kershaw may or may not be back. So there are a lot of question marks, after Urias and Buehler, that the Dodgers have to address for the rotation.
They have a hole. They do have a hole. They don't have they might be going for a first baseman too. I don't know. They're going to come in here and steal Freddie Freeman from everybody.
And if Freddie Freeman has ties to the Los Angeles area, he's Orange County.
I know.
He's from California. It pains me. That's where they live in the off season. And on the Blue Jays front, we're talking about that too. The Blue Jays have some interest potentially as well. He does have Canadian citizenship because his parents are both from Canada. So there is a connection to Canada.
Canada too,
Freddie Freeman as well. So it wouldn't surprise me there either. But I still think Atlanta is going to come to some sort of resolution here. It was never going to be before the work stoppage anyway. So I'm interested to see how it plays out afterwards. But the longer this goes from a Freddie Freeman and the Braves fan standpoint, the more I worry.
Could you imagine Freddie Freeman hitting in Toronto? I think he would absolutely destroy that stadium.
Well, he would, Shane, because he hits to all parts of the field. So, I mean, he would probably be a better fit in Toronto than he would be even at a Yankee Stadium because, I mean, Freddie can pull the ball, but his best power is left center field. That's how it's always been. So, for me, he'll fit anywhere. He'll absolutely fit anywhere, any roster, any ballpark. But, man, if you did put him in Toronto, that would be
as a Red Sox fan, I know this pains you.
Actually, Boston would be the best fit.
If he doesn't go to back to Atlanta, I pray that he goes to the Dodgers because I don't want to see him in the AL East.
Think about Freddie Freeman at Fenway, just real quick. Think about
he would kill the monster. He'd pepper the monster.
He would absolutely destroy the monster. He would be a doubles machine. He would probably become the all-time doubles leader.
I think if we did get Freddie Freeman, I think Ken would have an absolute heart attack because he'd be shocked that this management team went out and spent money on a player.
And I don't think I could ever talk to you guys again because I would just be in pure shame.
Ken, if Freddie Freeman went to the Red Sox, would there be parties in the street up there?
Yeah, people would freak, but it's not even. People would freak mostly out of sheer shock. It's just not even on their radar.
Yeah, it's 100% a pipe dream.
Everybody is accepting the fact that the roster they have right now is likely what they're going in with, because it's probably true.
Yeah. Ken, do you think Trevor Bauer will ever be back in the majors?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I don't think there's going to be a market for any of these guys. I mean, is Marcelo Ozuna going to ever be back in the majors either?
Yeah, his suspension ends on the 22nd or the 2022.
So he's back.
Yeah,
I think it's a very strong likelihood. Yeah.
And actually, I just saw there was something. Trevor Bauer's still in the media too. He's talking a lot. So,
which is one thing Marcelo Ozuna hasn't done. So that's a good thing.
I don't necessarily think we're going to see Trevor Bauer anytime soon, mostly because of the way he carries himself. off the field.
So Bauer made a YouTube channel I stumbled upon like a week ago. And he is like one of the most arrogant dicks I've ever listened to talk.
Did you hear him kind of throwing shade at the Max Scherzer deal?
Did he really?
Yeah. He was.
What did he say?
It was something like just kind of talking smack. Like he like took credit for it or something. Like
naturally.
Short-term deal, high AAV, congrats Max type of thing.
He's such a loser. But Ken, if there was one player, one of the players in that's still a free agent, and you could dream of like a perfect fit for them, what player would that be, and what fit do you see?
My one last week was Castellanos to the White Sox because they so desperately need a right fielder, and that still is, I think, a perfect fit. The two other ones I would say, I think I said it right before we were on the air, but the Red Sox and having a lockdown closer would be really nice, especially if they're not going to pay up elsewhere. We saw it last year; they didn't have a bullpen at all. Then in the playoffs, they were having to they couldn't rely on the guys that got them there, the guys like Matt Barnes and the guys like Ottavino. So that's why I think you should look at Raisel Iglesias, and I think there's more teams that need a back end arm, but the Red Sox are certainly the first and foremost need a back end arm. They need a front end arm too, but they lack arms all over the place. So with the starting pitching pool starting to shrink up a little bit, I think you're starting to see some of these relievers are going to start to be some of the more sought after assets. You still have Kenley Jensen out there. You still have Raisel Iglesias out there. I think if Heimblum really doesn't want to spend up big elsewhere, doing short-term contracts to bolster the rotation is very wise because that's going to be a problem for the Red Sox next year. No doubt about it. And then the other one I would say, honestly, we touched on it a little bit, but Chris Bryant playing third base for the Seattle Mariners is probably a perfect fit in the sense that it's exactly what that team needs. It fits the position needs. It fits the lineup needs. It fits the veteran leadership needs. So I think Chris Bryant potentially playing third base in Seattle would be a very wise move, especially if they're going to try to keep pace with the other teams in the division making some splashes.
So the one move that I think would be the ultimate move would be for the Red Sox, and it would be for the Red Sox to pay up on a starting pitcher. Probably not going to happen. It's a pipe dream. But I'd love to see them bring in Carlos Rodon. Another good lefty, power lefty, had a great season with the White Sox. If he can stay healthy, I think he'd be great in Fenway. He'd be good in that rotation, good in the clubhouse. I think he'd be a core guy. I think that'd be my perfect fit. Although Gausman getting 110 mil, I think you're looking at like 150 mil for Rodon probably because he's younger. He's a power lefty.
Gausman has no business getting that much money. It threw the whole market
100%
off.
agree with that.
It's gonna throw the whole market off because he had a decent year last year, but just look at his
track historically he's not good at all.
Yeah, you just look at his track record and it's not good.
He was bad in Baltimore. He was bad in Atlanta.
He's bad everywhere except last year.
And even in the second half last year, his ERA was in the mid-4s after the All-Star break. So like for me, I don't trust him in the AL East. We've seen it. I have a hard time believing that he's going to. He might be effective, but I don't think he's going to be what you're paying $110 million for.
I think he's going to be one of those guys that'll give you 4 or 5 strong innings, and that's it. And then he'll get crushed after 5.
He might get.
And there was also concern. There was also concern about his hip throughout much of the second half of the season. So, obviously he passes physical and everything, but will he stay healthy? And that's a big question. So I think there's a lot of questions with Gausman.
I think the market, for whatever reason, I distinctly heavily disagree with this. I think the market is smushing together Gausman, Stroman, and Robbie Ray, when I think Robbie Ray is so much more the better pitcher than the other two. Like,
I'm so shocked that Robbie Ray didn't get that money from the Blue Jays that he got from the Mariners.
What I heard, Shane, is that they just outbid Toronto. Toronto made an effort.
Why isn't Toronto giving Robbie Ray $130 million? I think he's worth it.
He's worth the extra 20 instead of paying Gossman.
Yeah. One player I will say that I'm super excited for is Byron Buxton getting that 7-year extension, $100 million. He's just a really good guy, I think. You never hear bad stuff about him other than he's always injured. If he can stay healthy, the guy's effective. I think he's a great piece for the Twins in a rebuilding phase. He's still kind of young. I think he's like 26, 27. So this takes him to 34. Maybe he gets one decent contract after that. But overall, I'm happy he's getting his money. Really good guy. And I did want to touch on Wander Franco. We talked about him last week getting that extension. Ken, I don't know if you saw the numbers, but it's extremely backloaded.
Yeah.
I think the first 5 years they pay a total of like $8 million.
You know what that means?
What's that?
That means
he gets traded after 5 years.
Backloaded Tampa Bay deal. He's getting moved after once the backload becomes the front load. He's getting dealt.
I think he makes $1 million this year, $1 million next year, and then it goes to like $2 million, $2 million, $5 million. But if he wins an MVP throughout the first 6 years, every year he wins, he gets an extra $10 million.
Here's the thing with Wander Franco and his contract, and Shane and I, we talked about it offline actually yesterday, is that there's no surprise that it's backloaded. He's basically he would be in his arbitration years making a similar amount of money. Once you get into the backloaded phase, the Rays were very smart in doing this. Think about what he would be worth as a free agent 5 or 6 years down the line, as opposed to 11 or 12 years down the line. They're paying him $16 million a year, essentially $17, $18 million a year during what would be his prime free agent years. If he were to get a contract, it would likely be at least $30-some million because of what we see with Corey Seager. And think about inflation and how that will impact the market in 5 or 6, 7 years. So really, it'll be a bargain for Tampa Bay with Wander Franco paying him $18, $19 million a year when that money does come up for him. So think about it in that context.
Yeah, I think Ken's completely right here. I think 100% when they get to that backloaded phase, he's gone. He's going to get traded for players that aren't even in the league yet. And they'll get a king's ransom too, to whatever team he goes to. Chances are he goes to like the Dodgers or something, and they get every single top prospect they own. I don't know, something crazy, because Franco's legit. But Wander did say he wants to stay a Ray forever. I don't know how true that is. Obviously, he's going to say that now because he just got paid. But I think that is it's interesting to say the least, right, Ken?
Certainly is. Yeah, like I said it last week. It strikes me as a Rays move to pay him now, especially now that the details are coming out that it's backloaded. It just seems a little too convenient for me that they won't eventually just try and flip him towards the back end of that, like they've done so many other times before. Which is to say that this contract signing is an investment in players that haven't even been drafted yet.
Yeah. He has a team. I told Andy yesterday it was a player option. It's actually a team option for $35 million after his final year. So technically the team would have control of him for quite a while if they did decide to move him, say, in 4 or 5 years. They'd still have another, 6 years left to control him. So, I mean, it's crazy. A lot of big moves happening. I do want to talk about Tua. I know you guys love this conversation.
We have to talk about him again.
Tua was amazing on Sunday. He was great. He's had 16 incompletions over his last 4 starts. Justin Herbert had 16 incompletions on Sunday alone. Not saying that Tua is better than Herbert, but look what happens when you don't have the Deshaun Watson stuff hanging over your head. The coach is just letting you go out there and play some ball. Jalen Waddle is stepping up. Myles Gaskin is starting to play a little better. This team's coming together, man. I like Tua. I think he's better. He was better than Hurts this past weekend. Fuck Hurts. Let's go Tua.
I will say, Shane, at least you're consistent because what Tua does with his high completion percentage is the same thing that Mac Jones did the first 4 weeks of the season, and people said that we shouldn't be impressed by it. So at least you're consistent in that, and I can't give you shit about being impressed by short, dink and dunk effective screen passes that basically hit their receiver in the hands. What he's doing is commendable because they have no offensive line and they have no run game. So the fact that he is doing it as accurate as he is and he's not getting sacked is probably a testament to him. He isn't getting sacked very much, which is weird considering they aren't protecting at all. But like it's the same thing that we've seen before. It's dink and dunk passes, right? So his upside is capped. He can be a good game manager doing that, but he's not going to be a Super Bowl contending quarterback doing that.
I will say he did have 3 really great, like longer completions to Jalen Waddle that were really good.
Yeah, that has to be a consistent part of the game plan, though, for Miami to take the next step forward. That's not the only thing they need. They need to address things outside of what he's capable of doing. They need to fix the running game. They need to fix the offensive line. But overall, it looks definitely better than it did this time 4 to 5 weeks ago. I also think we have to be a little, to pump the brakes a little bit, only because what has it been? It's been, Cam Newton being a pumpkin, the Jets, the Texans, and I think that Baltimore Thursday night game. And the schedule doesn't get much harder for them. I think they have the Jets again. They have the beat-up Titans. The most telling game left on Miami's schedule is going to be that New England game, to be honest with you, because they beat New England week 1. New England is not that same team. They have the Giants, the Jets, the Saints on the road, which could be tough, but the Saints are a mess. The Titans on the road, and then at home against New England. So if they win 2 out of 3 at New Orleans, at Tennessee, and then home versus New England, that's a pretty successful closeout to the season because they're probably going to beat the Giants and Jets at home the next 2 weeks.
Is it safe to say, Ken, that Jalen Waddle is probably better than we all thought? He's having a pretty solid season. He
is good. He's better than I thought he was. He was by far – I put him at number 3 among the rookie wide receivers. Same. But he's not 1 because Chase is probably still 1 because of the connection he has with Burrow. But he's probably 1A. They've both lapped Devontae Smith, I think.
See, the thing is with Smith is getting him the ball. Because there'll be games where Smith has 8 or 9 receptions, and then there'll be games last week where Hurts only got him three balls.
That's Eagles play calling 101. So that's the other thing I do like. I like Miami's coaching staff. I do like Brian Flores. He came from the Belichick tree, and if he's one of the good ones, he'll put his guy in a position to succeed. He did some stupid shit earlier in the year where he was doing the Brissett to a yank back and forth, which actually ended up working out for him. I guess the only other thing to consider with Tua is health, really, because
did you see Devontae Smith do a very Ken thing that I think you would love after last week's game?
No.
So he went in the locker room and cursed out the whole offense for playing like shit. And
maybe you should. I'm trying. So what I should do is watch an Eagles game because all I see is they're not running the ball. Devontae Smith's not getting targets. Dallas Goedert's not getting targets. So who is touching the ball?
So I watched a little bit. It's very much like the play calling is snap Jalen Hurts the ball and let him run around and make a play.
Exactly. There's no game planning at all.
And Hurts is a better quarterback than that. When there's it seems like there's an actual game plan and they're running the ball, Hurts is fantastic.
That's why
they win the game by a lot.
I said last
They
week.
do.
Vig mentioned
ever since Miles Sanders has come back, they've used Jordan Howard less, and that seems to have put a detriment to their running. When they were using Jordan Howard, they were an incredible offense. And I'll give you this. I mean, we're talking about Tua, and yes, he's been great the last few weeks. I want to compare again Jalen Hurts to Lamar Jackson. Everybody talks about how great Lamar Jackson is, but really, Jalen is right on that level.
No one on this podcast is, other than maybe you, is saying how great Lamar is.
Lamar and Jalen Hurts are pretty much similar quarterbacks. So if you're going to say that Lamar Jackson is electrifying and exciting and an MVP candidate, you got to put Jalen Hurts right in that category. Jalen Hurts has one fewer rushing attempt, 12 yards difference, 707 for Lamar, 695 for Jalen. They're 4 points from their QB rating. Lamar has a slightly higher QB rating, 87.5 to 84. Passing yards, Lamar Jackson, about 180 yards difference for him, and 10 fewer passing attempts. So very much similar are Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. So for me, I'm standing by my Jalen Hurts despite having a bad game against the Giants. He's still one of the best young quarterbacks in this game. And you can say Tua is right up there as well because Tua is playing very well, and I'm not disputing that.
I think you got to reiterate the point I said last week that Jalen Hurts is doing Lamar Jackson things with a coach and a system that is doing everything in its power to hinder his ability to succeed. Whereas Lamar Jackson is doing Lamar Jackson things in a system where the coach has dropped everything in order to build a roster around making Lamar Jackson successful. Lamar Jackson should be successful because the entire organization is built around it.
The GM tried to build around Jalen Hurts, bringing in Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins.
Well, they need a new coach then.
But the coach isn't getting the ball to Quez. Coach isn't getting the ball to Devontae. They're throwing to Jalen fucking Reagor, who's dropping everything.
He loves dropping passes.
That man drops everything.
Bad. He's good at dropping.
So bad. And it's crazy because Reagor was drafted one slot ahead of Justin Jefferson, too. Just think if Jefferson was with the Philadelphia Eagles.
So I was watching the end of the Eagles game, and they had a chance to score a touchdown at the end of the game to take the lead. And Jalen Reagor dropped the touchdown pass. It literally had one guy behind him. He was afraid that he was about to get his bell rung, so he dropped the ball. And you can't have that. You got to get the ball to Devontae. Devontae was on the other side, single coverage.
The other thing,
if you're going to single cover the fastest guy on your team, you got to expose that.
The other thing Vig said that makes a lot of sense is that this was a humming offense when they were feeding Jordan Howard because Jordan Howard is a efficient, effective, albeit not sexy running back. I think Nick Sirianni might be the only person who still thinks Miles Sanders is an effective running back at an NFL level because we just have not seen it. I don't think we haven't seen it. I'll call it out right now. Miles Sanders is extraordinarily overrated.
So at the beginning of the season, when they were using Kenneth Gainwell, they were winning games. And then all of a sudden they stopped using Gainwell. You barely see him anymore.
Why don't you just tandem Gainwell and Howard and see how it does? Because Miles Sanders is just occupying space.
And that's what they did when Sanders was hurt. They were using Gainwell and Howard, and they were winning games. And now
because Sanders was hurt.
So I'm so far out on Miles Sanders after.
I'm not a Miles Sanders guy. I think he's good, but he's not a feature back to any means.
And it was funny because he's a Penn State guy, and he came right after Saquon. And Miles, I think he's solid, but
Miles got outplayed by KJ Hamler. And that's why KJ Hamler started.
Miles is okay, but I mean, you replace Saquon Barkley, that's a tough assignment. And then he gets into the NFL, and then obviously you have this coaching staff who just basically misuses him. And I think, to be fair to Miles Sanders, I think he is being misused. But at the same time, you bring in a Jordan Howard and a Kenneth Gainwell, I mean, that's worked. And
let's not forget, Jordan Howard is a pretty young back still. I think he's like 26 or 27.
He's 26.
Really?
Wow. He's still pretty young because he was like 21 when he played for the Bears.
The Bears ran him out for whatever reason. Like nobody wanted him to. It's like. And
then everywhere he's gone, he's been productive though. That's the thing.
Yeah, was he productive in Miami? I don't remember.
Yeah, he wasn't bad, but then they replaced him with I can't remember the back they replaced him with, and they shipped him to Philly. Frank Gore.
He was good. I mean, he was good. He was good for 3 years in Chicago, and then for whatever reason, they didn't want to acknowledge that he was good anymore.
If they would just use Devontae Smith more, it would be a different, because he's honestly, like you rated the wide receivers, Ken. I think 1A is Jamar Chase, hands down. He's been fantastic. 1B, and I think it's a 1B and 1C situation though, because I think all three receivers are really good.
Yeah, it's a situation.
They utilized Devontae Smith like the 49ers utilized Deebo Samuel. That would be pretty freaking special.
But look at what Kyle Shanahan's done to Deebo. He's running him into the ground right now. He's broken.
Yeah, he's gonna do. Yeah, that's why Shanahan's a joke.
Debo's hurt right now
for no reason.
Why? I just want to know why Deebo is getting 8 carries in a game, or 8 to 10 carries a game, and Trey Sermon's getting 0, and they spent a second-round pick on him.
It's because Shanahan's cute. It's because Shanahan thinks he's cute. But in actuality, I did look into that because as a Trey Sermon dynasty owner, it's extremely frustrating. I read that Trey Sermon fits the RPO much better than any other back on the Niners roster. So they're saying that Trey Sermon is kind of like a piece that's lying in wait for the eventual Trey Lance takeover.
That makes sense. I really thought you were going to tell me like Trey Sermon slept with Kyle Shanahan's wife or something.
That's probably more likely. But no, they really are. They think that Sermon's most effective when Lance is going to be under center. Which might actually check out to what Lance, because Sermon had a couple productive games, and it might have been when Jimmy was hurt. I'd have to go back and check the schedule though. What
are the 49ers going to do in the offseason? Does Jimmy get traded, or are they just moving on from Lance?
No, I think Jimmy's out of there. I still think they have too much pride to move on from Lance that quickly.
Yeah.
Shanahan would never admit defeat that
way. Did we touch on the Taysom Hill stuff? Him getting that huge extension?
We did.
Okay.
You said that he had naked pictures of Peyton or something.
Oh, true. Yeah. Which is probably true, because why is Taysom Hill getting $100 million again? But
although, isn't he going to start now?
Looks like he's going to start.
You're evaluating it now.
If you're paying him that much money, you might as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which brings his guaranteed money up to $55 million since he's starting a game.
Sure does.
Which is scary. Hopefully he uses that money well. But no, I just think it's crazy that Trey Sermon's a second-round pick and he's not being used a lot. Elijah Mitchell's being run into the ground currently.
Yeah, he's another one. He's
hurt again. So
yeah, he's always hurt.
You just want Sermon to be running into the ground, don't you?
Yeah, why can't you just run Sermon into the ground?
Yeah, so this year Sermon does me no good, but if they were to run him in the ground next year in RSO, that'd be perfect. Actually, that would fit my timeline.
Yeah, it's not going to help your 1-11 record this year, Shane. But
no, so my key for this year was to trade off all my big names, and now I'm going to probably get the first or second pick. So I'm going to be able to get like Kenneth Walker or one of the good receivers that come out.
That's what we need. We need to do a fantasy dive for next year's draft picks, because me and Vig are now like battling. There's like 4 of us.
I have four first-round picks in our league.
Ken, as a Notre Dame fan that you anointed yourself this year, how do you feel about Brian Kelly leaving to go to LSU?
See, I don't really know enough about it, but my bigger opinion is on the nonsense happening with you in USC, with the fact that I guess we don't pay players in college football, so we just shell out ungodly amounts of money to these coaches instead of making sure these kids are taken care of and getting scholarships and furthering and bettering themselves. We're going to make sure we give that money to this asshole to get a mansion in Southern California instead.
And they buy his houses for him, $500K over market.
Oh, that's so vomit inducing to me.
So, but I've also heard that they may make him AD. So, or make him like that level at the school, so they can give him more money, even more money. I don't know. I just think that's how the NCAA works, man. Don't pay the players, give the coaches $200 million, and screw the players. They're supposed to make that school money, right?
It's a step back for the Fighting Irish. I don't even know if they didn't even have candidates lined up or anything.
So I think Lincoln Riley is going to get some kind of like fine, because rumor is that he has been talking to his young guys at Oklahoma to go into the transfer portal so he can take them to USC with them.
Oh my God! No, this is fine.
I heard Caleb Williams, their starting quarterback currently, could go to SC. Spencer Rattler's already entered the transfer portal. So Oklahoma, whoever takes that over, is gonna be in shambles for 1 year at least. And Andy and I yesterday had a very heated debate about why I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to be the next Oklahoma coach.
I think it depends how his NFL season ends.
So they asked him yesterday after practice. They said, "You've been rumored that Oklahoma's been talking to you. Oklahoma's come out and said that you were their number one target. What's the deal?" And he said, "We're 9-2 right now. I'm focusing on the NFL season. I don't have much to say on that for now." And that's how he left it. So that makes me think he is probably leaving after this year. When you say you don't have much to say about that for now, so you're going to have a lot to say about it later?
You might be reading into it too much also.
I mean, there's possibility, but let's say Lincoln Riley got $110 million, a house. They bought 2 of his houses, and basically just given everything. What do you give Cliff? Cliff probably gets a mansion on 200 acres in Oklahoma. He probably gets $200 million.
They have to up it because it's not Southern Cal.
Yeah. He essentially, the way I look at it is, and Andy started to come around to it at the end of the night last night. Yeah, you're immortal if you win a Super Bowl title, but you go to Oklahoma, you're God. You answer to no one. You answer to the AD, which is probably going to be you. They're probably going to make him the AD. They're going to give him as much money as he wants. They're going to buy his house. They're going to let him do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to answer to the GM. He doesn't have to answer to an owner.
It's still the worst state to live in. I'm telling you, nothing is in Oklahoma.
I mean, that's fair. But to be a god at a top 5 school in the nation, I mean, Cliff seems like the kind of guy that'd be into that.
He might.
I don't know. I'm still skeptical about it. I going to the SEC, I get the allure of going to the SEC, but are they going to be able to win right away? And what happens in the first year or two if he doesn't necessarily win? I mean, Lincoln Riley going to USC, he's got the accolades from his success with Oklahoma. So granted, at USC, it's a demanding job, and obviously there's probably a lot of expectation there. But at least he'll be able to bring in his guys and recruit right away. And the Pac-12 is a cakewalk compared to what the SEC will be. So that's something you got to think about as well if Cliff Kingsbury is going to join a completely new organization.
Well, let's not forget, cash is king always. And if you're getting offered $250 million to go coach Oklahoma, I think you do it. I mean, that's a lot of money. You're not going to get that in the NFL. This is the last year of Cliff's contract, and the Cardinals haven't reached out to try and re-sign him. What's the most that he'll get? Because he's not going to make more than Belichick. I mean, what, maybe 30 mil, 40 mil? I don't know what the highest paid coach is. I think it's Belichick.
It's Belichick, but I don't think it's public knowledge, right?
Yeah, no.
I feel like that's more hush-hush in the NFL than it would be otherwise. I mean, we knew John Gruden when he was hired by the Raiders at the time. It was a 10-year, $100 million contract.
I think
And I think that's what Brian Kelly is making with LSU as well.
What's that?
About in the 10 for 100 range, which he was making about $7 million, I believe, a year with
At Notre Dame.
So it's not a huge step up for salary for him. It's
but you go to the SEC.
He's going to the SEC, but he's going to an LSU program that he can bring in his guys right away because he's already an established college.
Did you hear his press conference last week when he was rumored to be part of the LSU coaching search? He said this. He said, Andy, he said this. You're going to get a kick out of this. He said, what did Mike Tomlin say? If a little fairy drops in with a $200 million check, I still have to talk to my wife about it, so I'm not going anywhere.
He probably did have to talk to his wife about it. He's moving from Notre Dame to LSU. I mean, it's a move.
Well, no, but he said the same line that Tomlin said about USC. He said even if they brought a little fairy with a check that was $200 million, he'd still have to talk to his wife. He's not going anywhere. I'm staying at Notre Dame, and he walked out.
Well, you forgot to mention
why I didn't jump at it.
You forgot to mention that his wife will jump at the chance for a $200 million check. So
exactly, that's exactly like she's probably thinking like, "What the hell are you waiting for?"
And here's the thing: is Mike Tomlin's not leaving. You don't leave the Pittsburgh Steelers to go back to college. I'm sorry.
No,
only
Mike
biased.
Tomlin, no, I agree with you. I think Tomlin would, if he were to have left, would only been to USC. Because, I mean, he is literally God in Pittsburgh. Like, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, Tomlin's
funny because a lot of people are after his head for the Steelers.
Tomlin's very comfortable.
Aside from killing someone, I think he could pretty much do whatever he wanted. But I still think that the cliff to Oklahoma is very, very well alive. I think I would be willing to put just about anything on Cliff going to Oklahoma after that press conference yesterday. I think when you start saying verbiage such as "for now," I might be reading into it like I said.
I like how you're reading into it. I just don't know. You could be right on, or you could be just, he might.
I could be way off, but I think
he just kind of talks a lot, and he
doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would like care that he's stepping down from the NFL to go to college. He seems like the kind of guy that would want to be like the next Nick Saban.
Kingsbury.
Let's get to our pick'em.
Yeah, we're going to breeze through these guys. We're not going to break down every single game. Last week, not week 5, week 12, Ken went 8-7. Wow. He's 110-69-1. We've got Andy who went 9-6 last week. He won the title last week. He went 107-72-1. He's 3 games back at Ken. And then I went 8-7, 104-75-1, 6 games back.
I need another 10. I need another 10 bagger to. I need to up the cushion a little.
First game seems like it'll be pretty breezy. Cowboys Saints. I'm taking the Cowboys. Ken, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Cowboys as well. I think Cooper and Lamb should be back. Hopefully, at least Lamb will be. Yeah, the Cowboys will take care of business here. I know they had a rough Thanksgiving, so they'll bounce back.
Andy, where are you leaning on this?
I hope this isn't one of those trap games, but since y'all are going with the Cowboys, I don't feel any pressure with the trap game here. Go Cowboys.
Fair enough. That's Cowboys straight across. Into our next game. It is at home. The Texans could give fits, but I'm still going to take the Colts. As long as they stay up with the Jonathan Taylor game plan, it seems like they're hard to beat. So I'll go Colts. Andy, where are you on this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go Colts too. I mean, if this is a trap game for Indianapolis coming off a heartbreaking loss to Tampa Bay, then they don't deserve to make the playoffs. Run it with Taylor and get the W.
Colts lost because they got away from the run game. Stop doing that.
And they tried late, but it was too little too late.
It was too late. Stop doing that. Stop getting cute, Frank. I like you, but you gotta stop. Chill. They'll win this game, but they can't get away from Taylor.
So we're all three on the Colts, which brings us into a game that I think should be rather easy for my man Kirk. We got the Vikings at the Lions. Ken, where are you on this one?
It's going to be interesting with the running backs injured. I don't know if either one, Swift or Cook, is going to play. But, yes, it is still the Lions, and it is a 7-point spread. And, Minnesota, they like to lose these games close. So this could be a close one that they lose. Wouldn't shock me, but I think they'll be okay with Madison and the rest of the offense, even if Cook doesn't play, that the Vikings will win this one.
I'm going Vikings as well. Andy, where are you on this?
Yeah, the Vikings big time disappointed me last week, but I think they come back and get the job done this week.
Very nice, very nice. Which brings us in to my boy Tua facing the Giants. Obviously, I'm riding the Tua train. I think this is going to be a pretty easy game. I think Jalen Waddle's going to have another 100-yard performance. Myles Gaskins has another good game. Go Dolphins. Ken, where are you on this?
This is a rough one in the sense that these are kind of offenses that have been sluggish overall. Obviously, Miami's been better lately, and New York just hasn't figured out how to get Saquon Barkley going, which is probably going to limit what they are able to do from here on out the rest of the season. Dolphins are at home. So this seems like an easy one for me. I don't see them I don't see them losing this game. They've been rolling, and they have a very, very cupcake schedule from here on out. So I think they're going to get themselves back over 500 to finish this year out.
Andy, where are you on this?
Nobody brought up the fact that Daniel Jones is not likely going to play this week. So Mike Glennon is likely to start this week for the Giants.
I didn't even know that.
So yeah, I mean, not that it's a crazy. I mean, you lose your starting quarterback no matter what. Going on the road against the tough Dolphins defense, they've played really well. So yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of a rather easy one. I'm taking Miami.
Fair. That brings us to the Bucs and the Falcons. This is going to be probably the least competitive game all week. I'm going to go the Bucs. That's a pretty easy call for me. If you've got the Bucs in Survivor League, this seems like a good time to pick them. Andy, where are you on this?
This actually has the potential to be a shootout. Hear me out here. The Bucs secondary is injured. They haven't been that great this year. If Matt Ryan can find Pitts and get Patterson going and whatnot, this could actually be a shootout. But I'm taking the Bucs to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still out on Matt Ryan. I think he looks like shit still. And the Falcons, they're like 31st in pass defense. Tampa Bay's actually, it's funny. Tampa Bay, I saw a stat. They are 5-6 against the spread as favorites, but they're 4-1 when the spread is double digits. So they destroy the bad teams. When the spread is high, Tampa Bay covers. So I think they'll do that again here. They'll probably win by 20 or more, I think.
I do want to get off on a small tangent because we got through quite a few games already. We've still got some time left. Ken, Rob Gronkowski has looked very good since coming back the last 2 weeks. He's gotten over 7 receptions each game, over 100 yards. Are we seeing the old Gronkowski? Are we possibly going to get another 3 or 4 years from him?
I think it's all about in the management. I think he's been very vocal that part of the reason he retired is because he was rushed back from injuries. And when he was rushed back from injuries, that's probably those situations where you saw him be least effective. Because we were saying, Gronk is still hurt. But what we're seeing in Tampa Bay is that there isn't this reliance on Gronk to be out there. For New England to have the operation it did, it had to have Gronk on the field, or it wasn't the same team. For Tampa Bay, they can get by without Gronk on the field. They want him there in the playoffs, but if they need to rest him for 6, 7, 8 games, they're more than happy to do that. They have depth all over the offense, and the connection he has with Brady is just it's immeasurable. So if whatever you need to do to keep him there, to keep your quarterback comfortable, to know he has that safety net, it's an incredible weapon. So I don't necessarily think it left. I think it was a combination of him being cashed out and done with New England, wanting a change of scenery. He left and he took some time away. He healed some things up. He got back in the groove and he came back. I think you could have seen other guys do this too and sort of push their careers out a little farther. But I definitely don't see a reason why we won't continue to see Gronk for at least as long as Brady is active.
Andy, in your opinion, is Gronk a Hall of Fame tight end?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. I mean, he was one of the most dominant tight ends for, I would say, at least, barring some injury, at least a 6-7 year span, right? And even in his kind of late days now, he retired, kind of got healthy a little bit, and is having a second wave of his career. 8,800 receiving yards, right? Almost 600 catches, but the touchdowns, he has 90 touchdowns. So there's definitely a chance for him to eclipse the century mark in touchdowns for his career. So yeah, no doubt. I think especially if he eclipses 10,000 yards and 100 touchdowns. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Same question, Ken?
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, it's a better question of how does he stack up to the other tight ends. He's no doubt Hall of Famer, but if you have to put a gun to your head, are you taking Gronk or Tony G prime?
That I guess that's a good question. If you've got your choice between probably this decade or this era's best tight ends, are you taking Gronk, Gates, or Tony G in their prime?
It's tough to ask me, man, because
I'm taking Gronk.
Wow. Tony G in his prime, that's tough. I mean, for me, even Tony G in his Atlanta days were awesome. But for me, just from what I saw from Gronkowski,
I just think the versatility from Gronk is better than the other two.
The athleticism that he showed, he was just pure dominant. Like nobody could cover him. You couldn't put two guys on him.
There's not many tight ends. Maybe Kyle Pitts now that can line up as a receiver and then go and get in the trenches and be able to run block right after that.
I think the thing with Gronk is that like Andy said, he's immeasurable. You can't block him. It's impossible. There's no way to contain him if he's right. Whereas I think with Tony G, it was more about dependability and durability. The guy was never hurt. I think he missed 2 games or something. It was some stupid number. He was never hurt. Whereas Gronk was hurt, but when he was there, you knew he was not coverable.
So this is probably me getting off the rails just a little bit too much here, but I need to know from Ken as a Patriots fan, because I loved this player before he became crazy and a murderer. But Aaron Hernandez, he doesn't do his murder. He stays healthy.
It's like 3 murders, you mean?
Yeah, whatever he did. Like he's a good guy. Like he's a good guy. Like if he's a good guy, where do we see him? Where does he stack up with Gronk in all of this in the grand scheme of things?
It'd be really tough to say, man, because I was actually of the mind that he was a more complete football player than Gronk was when they were.
We had him playing running back for quite a while.
I just liked what I saw from him quite a bit, so it's really tough to say. But long term, I don't know. Maybe that's who people are comparing Kyle Pitts to when he comes out. Who knows? Really, it's tough to say.
Why did he went to Florida?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, Aaron Hernandez was so undervalued coming out of that draft because obviously me being from Florida, I watched a lot of UF games, Tebow and Aaron Hernandez, and Hernandez was immeasurable on that team. You take Aaron Hernandez off that UF team, they probably don't win as many games as they won. He was the best, even better than Percy Harvin. He was the best receiver, offensive player other than Tebow. He was the reason that team was so good and so electric. And I personally, I'm of the mindset of Ken. I liked him a little more than Gronk, and I thought he brought a little more to the team, just because he did play H-back a little bit. He played tight end, he played receiver, he did everything.
Yeah,
Do you think
that's why
he's on pace to be in the Hall of Fame if he stays?
Yeah,
Just
I
the way
think
he
so,
was being used.
But I think he's not a prototypical tight end. He's not going to be like a Jason Witten. He's going to be more like he may even be the type of guy that converts more to a receiver as time goes on, like a Marcus Colston.
Yeah, like an Antonio Gates technically.
I guess, yeah. He was an undersized tight end, so he wasn't good blocking in line.
Yeah, no, and that was just my tangent for today. Sorry, guys, I just thought of it, and I needed to get some ideas. But anyways, moving on. Eagles Jets. We saw the Jets play better with Zach Wilson. As much as people shit on Zach Wilson, I do think he is a good quarterback. I think he could be really good for this team. I think the coaching's not the greatest. I like the Jets head coach. I just don't think they've got the right offense in place for Zach, and to fit his skill set. But nevertheless, I take the Eagles here. Ken, what are you thinking here?
Yes, Eagles for me. Not much else to say. I don't really like the Jets. They're a little banged up right now offensively. I was liking the offense as a whole with Tevin Coleman. With Michael Carter. Obviously now Tevin Coleman's getting the run. It's just not as dynamic, and it's a little more one-dimensional. I do still like some of the receivers, but they just kind of – it's the same old story. I feel like we say the same thing every week, so I'm going to go with the Eagles.
Sure. Andy, where are you on this?
Yeah, I'm on the Eagles too. I just think that they'll figure it out offensively. I hope establish the running game a bit more because really they don't need to throw the football like crazy against the Jets. If they can just run the football, utilize Jalen Hurts and Devontae Smith, they'll be just fine. I think they come back and bounce back against the other New York team.
Going into the next game where we will see Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins back, it looks like. Cardinals at Bears. Andy, I assume the Cardinals are the pick here for most teams or most people. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think so. I think you have to go with the Cardinals here. I mean, the Bears show some life at times, but it's just so hard to trust them, especially if you're getting a shot in the arm with Murray and Hopkins coming back. I think that's a huge shot in the arm for the Cardinals, so I think they get it done.
Ken, on to you with your boy, big time, big play Mooney.
He's great.
Do you think he's enough to get the Bears over the Cardinals hump, or Murray and Hopkins are just a little too much to handle?
This will be closer than I think it needs to be. It'll be tougher than it looks. I'm not sure if the Cardinals are going to cover. I do think they're going to win. If Kyler doesn't play, he's never going to play football again, basically, because he's been week to week for like 2 months now. So I do expect them both to play. I expect the Cardinals to eke this one out, but I think it's going to be a grind. I wouldn't be totally surprised if they don't win this game.
So I'm going to take the Cardinals here. I like Ken. I think it's either going to be one of those. It's going to be a close one, and they're going to squeak it out, or it's going to be a blowout. I don't think there's a middle ground here. I'm going to be of the mindset that the Cardinals, with Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins back, if that is true, just completely go out and dominate and win. But we'll see how it goes. I got the Cardinals. Moving on, we've got the Chargers going to Cincinnati. Ken, your boy Burrow's been looking on fire. Chargers have struggled the last couple weeks. What do you think? What do you got going here?
I think the Bengals had a statement win last week, a huge statement win, stamped their foot.
Joe Mixon's been so good.
Chargers have to make a cross-country flight for an early kickoff. They played each other pretty close last year, I believe, but the Bengals team has come a long way. I think Burrow is going to outduel Herbert, and I like the Bengals here. I'm pretty comfortable with them as well.
Andy, you just were at the hands of that complete ass whooping. Completely pulled down the Steelers' panties and just beat the goddamn shit out of them. Ben Roethlisberger looked like shit. That offensive line was fucking terrible. The defense couldn't stop a cold. Ben sucks still. Did I say that? Anyways, who you got here?
Oh, thank God I'm wearing a Braves World Series championship hat. Right? We gotta talk about this. Yeah, no, that was bad. And at this point, for me, the season doesn't really matter to me anymore from a Steelers fan standpoint. We're not making the postseason, and if we are, we're gonna get shellacked by one of the top teams anyway.
Try the Bengals again.
I hate the Patriots.
I'm gonna make you a shirt that says "Burrow's my daddy." Anyways, are you taking the Bengals or the Chargers, pal?
Man, can both these teams tie? Can I predict a tie?
Sure, I'll put you down for a tie.
No. I'll
give it to him.
No, too late. I put you down for a tie.
I'll take the Bengals.
Tie. You got it. So I'm gonna stick with tonight's theme of us having the same picks, and I actually wrote my picks earlier. I'm taking the Bengals.
I thought we might have had some parity on that one. There's not a lot of parity on these.
Yeah, no. This week is pretty straightforward for the most part.
I know where Shane's going with the next game. Actually, never mind. Not the next game, but the game after that.
But I'm gonna take the Bengals. I think Burrow and that team. Joe Mixon's been amazing. Maybe the best running back in the league so far this year. He's just done so many good things. So yeah, I'll go ahead with the Bengals. Moving on to the next game, the Jaguars at the Rams. Of course, you know where I'm going with this because there's not a chance I'm taking the Jaguars in LA to beat the Rams. So I'll take the Rams here. Ken, where are you on this?
Agreed. Yeah, the Rams have lost three. Not 3 in a row, but they've lost 3 games. They haven't covered a spread in over a month, so they're struggling right now. But it's the Jaguars. They'll get it right. They'll figure it out.
I saw a meme that said Matt Stafford should have stayed in Detroit if he was going to play like this.
Yeah, the meme I saw was the Rams fans waiting for him to be worth 2 firsts, a third, and Jared Goff.
Andy,
but yeah, I'm taking the Rams.
Andy, I'm putting you down for the Jags on this, right?
Yeah, sure. Go for it. No, I'm just kidding. Give me the Rams.
Got it. Next game, since Andy believes he knows who I'm taking, I've already written it down. Pen's right here. I can't change anything. It's the football team at the Raiders. Andy, give me your pick first.
Oh, man. I want to take Washington. I really do. I mean, Oakland is tend to struggle after they have success. When I say Oakland, I mean Las Vegas. I'm still going to get that wrong in 10 years. They're still going to be Oakland to me. But Las Vegas, just you can't trust them with any success that they've had. And Washington has played really well as of late. Well enough, I guess you could say. So for me, I'm going to go in. Washington's got some momentum right now, and I know the Vegas Raiders do too, but I just don't trust them with any of that momentum. Give me Washington.
Okay. Ken, where are you on this?
I'm torn. I don't like the Raiders. I think they got lucky on Thanksgiving. I know they have an injury to Darren Waller, who's week to week. I don't know if he's going to play. Washington has looked spry. They've looked good. They are on a short week, which does concern me a little bit. The Raiders obviously have an extra long week to prepare, but I'm still not that worried about it. It's a 4:05 start. They're in Vegas. I think I'm going to go with Washington. They've got the mojo working a little better right now, and I'm not feeling the Raiders right now, honestly, with the injury to Waller, and I think that offense is going to be in for a rough ride without him if he doesn't play this week.
Andy, who do you think I'm taking?
I thought you were going to take Washington, but it sounds like you're going to take Vegas.
I am taking Vegas, actually. You are my best friend. You do know me pretty well. I wasn't taking the football team. I did actually take the Raiders.
Well, you've taken Washington like 3 weeks in a row, so that's why I was first thought.
I have to jump off the football team's bandwagon at some point, and this seems like a good week too. I don't trust these East Coast teams going out west a lot. Football teams on a short week. I think Derek Carr will have this team ready to go. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Vegas Raiders here. I just no particular reason other than I think it seems most likely that they beat the football team. Going into the next week, the next game, we've got Baltimore going to Pittsburgh, probably beat the shit out of the Steelers. Andy, what are you going to do when Lamar runs all over your ass and just starts dabbing all over like Heinz Field?
Well, I want to say
the finger to Art Rooney.
We've actually have had success in the past against Lamar Jackson, but with TJ Watt more likely being out, that could hinder some things. Good news is Joe Hayden may be coming back. I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make, but you never know.
Yeah, that's gonna old man Joe Hayden out there covering Marquise Brown.
Clearly, he's been out the last couple of weeks, and you can see how bad this defense has been.
They were bad before he was out.
So I can't pick the Ravens, man. I just can't.
What would you do if you just turned the TV on and you saw Lamar Jackson just taking a piss in the middle of
in a rivalry game like this? I can't go on camera and pick the Ravens.
If you pick the Ravens, you're not a Steelers fan. I have to take it away from you.
I have to die with my team on this one and go with Pittsburgh.
You're a moron, but it's okay. I still love you.
I appreciate your pride for giving me the extra W in the win column because I'm taking the Ravens.
I'm with you, Ken. I'm also taking the Ravens. I think Lamar's just gonna pull his panties down and just take a shit on the Steelers logo.
And what happens if Pittsburgh wins? Oh, I'm gonna have.
Good.
I'm gonna be screaming ear to ear. I'm gonna be screaming ear to ear.
Baltimore can't protect the ball, which is definitely
your big bald head is going to be extra shiny that day.
That's right, baby.
But going into the next game, we've got the 49ers at the Seahawks. What the fuck's going on with the Seahawks? Why is DK Metcalf getting literally 0 targets?
They're done. They're broken.
I think Russell Wilson's gone, I think.
Russ is washed. The defense is bad.
I'm obviously taking the Niners here.
The only thing San Francisco needs is a playmaking receiver to step up if Debo misses the game, which Ayuk should be able to do, and Kittle should be able to do. And yeah, I was beating up on the Niners earlier. They seem to have some mojo working, and they are nowhere near as in shambles as Seattle is. So I like San Fran. They've played well on the road too.
It's crazy that, not very long ago, just a few weeks ago, we were talking about the Seahawks being one of the best teams in the West, and they just have fallen apart.
Yeah.
Andy, I assume you're going the Niners here as well.
No Debo Samuel, though, for the Niners. Where's that offense? What are they going to do offensively?
Elijah Mitchell, Trey Sermon probably plays a little more. Brandon Ayuk steps up. George Kittle gets more than 1 fucking target.
Trey Sermon is going to get 3 carries for 8 yards.
As long as George Kittle gets more than 1 target, he really screwed me in my work, FanDuel thing. I should have won $300 over the weekend, and I only won $20 because I decided to switch George Kittle and Leonard Fournette.
Seattle's got to win at some point.
I don't know if they do.
Give me
so you're taking Seattle?
Give me Seattle.
He's just trying to be different to catch you, Ken.
I've got a funny feeling.
He's falling.
Got a funny feeling. That's all.
As long as I finish ahead of Andy, that's cool with me. I'll take that. Moving on to our Sunday night game, which actually I was pretty unsure of. I've gone back and forth on. I've decided to go with the Chiefs. but the Broncos are playing awfully well. That defense looks good. Patrick Surtain absolutely looks like the second coming of Champ Bailey. Andy, where are you on this? Broncos have already beaten the Chiefs once.
I hear you. I really do. I mean, we've seen physical football teams come in, physical defensive football teams come in and really kind of lay the wood with Kansas City. Most notably Buffalo's defense, just shutting them down. I mean, shit, the Giants' defense has even contained the Chiefs this year. So this one's hard for me. I'm not sure about if Kansas City does come to play. Will Denver be able to keep up with them offensively? To me, the answer to that question is no. They would have to run the football, which if they establish themselves early on, they could do, and they could, definitely create some problems. But I just got to believe that Kansas City shows up in this game. This is a big divisional game. The Broncos are over 500. Kansas City needs to win this game to really kind of put I'm not going to say a chokehold on the division, but really give themselves a little bit of a cushion. So this game has to be won by the Chiefs. So I am going Kansas City. I'm not necessarily in love with it, but I think Kansas City has to win this game. This is huge for them.
That's exactly my feelings on the game. Ken, where are you on this one?
I love the Chiefs. Hammer the Chiefs. I'm not concerned at all. Some stats can be easy. You don't have to be a numbers geek to crunch stats. Some stats are as easy as Andy Reid coming off a bye. That's what I'm going with here. Andy Reid coming off a bye.
Fair enough. Andy, would you like to introduce the Monday night game since I shit on your Steelers so hard?
This game's going to be
because you guys are
awesome, by the way.
You guys are too fucking good right now, and I can't.
This game is going to be badass.
I'll get my day again when Mike Evans gets his 1,000 yards.
Give me some shit, Andy. I just want to hear. I feel like I crushed your soul earlier. Just give me a little shit.
I'll get you back. Don't worry. I'll pick my spot.
Hey, fair enough. I tried to give you the opportunity. You missed it. You might not get another one. Patriots at Bills. I'm obviously taking the Patriots. I think this game's going to be good. But Mac Jones is, oh my God, he's a stud. Andy's already starting to hate him, which I love. I'm going to have to get his daughters some Mac Jones jerseys.
Hate him in the way I hated Brady, not because I think Mac is bad. It's because Mac is good. That's why.
Andy, not that I don't care about your opinion, but I want to hear from my other Patriot fan, Ken. What's on you, brother?
Yeah, I think this game is going to be awesome. I think these teams are going to kick the living shit out of each other. I think the crowd is going to be so into it in Buffalo. It's going to be the best Monday night game of the year. I demand you all to watch it. Demand everybody. If you don't, you should be watching it anyway. But if you wouldn't normally, you should. This is going to be an awesome game.
It seems like it's going to be a good game for Mondays with the Mannings.
These are the two best scoring defenses in all of football. Very opportunistic defenses, very strong performances. I like hammering the under, which I think is around 45. I think this is going to be a fight. I think this is going to be a grind out fight. I think they're going to neutralize Josh Allen in that offense. I think Buffalo's defense is going to keep the game close, and I like the Patriots to win by 3.
Fair enough. Andy, where are you on this?
Oh man, this is a huge game for both teams. I want to say it's actually bigger for Buffalo because New England's kind of come back. They've usurped Buffalo in the division. The Bills have kind of been perceived as a little bit weak over the last couple weeks, just getting out-muscled by Jonathan Taylor and company with the Colts. They are coming off a bye week, which I believe, which is a good thing for them. It's a home game. It's a home primetime game, and I think that helps Buffalo. Plus, it's an opportunity for me to hopefully get another game on you guys. So give me Buffalo.
God damn you. Before we go, Ken, over under 20 tables smashed in Buffalo.
They're going to smash them all before they go in, I think. It's going to be a mess, an absolute mess. I mean, I do think Vic's point is right in that this game means more to Buffalo than it does to New England. I think New England's on a win streak, very optimistic. Everybody's feeling really good about them, and they have a home game against Buffalo coming up, which they should. If they don't win this one or they keep it close for this one, they do have that home game in a couple of weeks. Whereas Buffalo, this is their home game. They got to win this one. Because if they don't win this one, the pressure's on when they go to Foxborough. And frankly, let's be real, this was not supposed to be a division this year. Buffalo was supposed to win this division, and the biggest threat was supposed to be probably the Dolphins to the division. They did not expect the Patriots to punch back this hard, and we did not expect Buffalo to regress as much as they have. So I do think this game means more to Buffalo than it does to New England, but it doesn't matter because New England is – Bill Belichick has his foot on the throat of the entire AFC.
Yep. So that's going to do it for us, guys. Another good episode, another fun one. We got to even talk about my favorite murderer, Aaron Hernandez.
He's your favorite murderer?
He might be.
Yeah.
Maybe like sports murderer, because you can't respect Ray Caruth.
I'd have to think about who my favorite murderer is.
Wouldn't it be OJ? Because we all know he did it.
Well,
Yeah.
OJ could be your favorite, but he wasn't a Patriot. He's the only Patriot I know that's murdered anyone.
Congratulations.
Is he technically? Are you allowed
Could be
to
like maybe your favorite football murderer is like Jack Tatum because he like killed some guy on a football field. But
it's definitely not Ray Lewis, being a Steelers fan. That was more of a show.
yeah, you're definitely not a Ray Lewis guy.
Ray Lewis is allowed to murder people, and
You're not. I don't think you're a Ray Caruth guy either because he killed
No,
like his wife or
that's
something.
Oh, that's really bad.
Jesus Christ, Shane.
Hey, I told you this show we go on tangents, and sometimes when you're about to end the show, you got to talk about your favorite murderer.
Yeah, favorite murderer.
That's only when
We'll think
Shane's
about-
the host. I keep
we'll
it
think
on
of-
script. I keep it on script, Ken.
You try.
I try.
Andy, do we need to talk about the Steelers again and make you turn your whole head turn red?
You're full of shit. Steelers are winning this week. Fuck you.
There we go, giving it back a little bit. Andy, tell everyone where we can find you, bro.
At Viggy Bets on Twitter. 2-2 nights so far. I will say that the Rice Owls suck. They were up by double digits at the half, -2. Easy winnings, and then they give up 54 points in the second half to Texas State. So and they lose by 10, actually 11 points. So great job by them. Did cash 2. We're 2-2. Got one more +7 for Detroit against Portland with Damian Lillard out. So hopefully we cash that. But for more content, great contact, Viggy Bets on Twitter.
And for great contact, Ken, like Viggy said, where can we contact you at?
Yes. You can find me at Kimbo J Slice on Twitter if you'd like some fun contact. Or EC Breaking Co. is the alternative for carb breaks and everything in between. If you're looking for to get yourself in the hobby, we're running some auction breaks, and we got a lot of football product coming out in the month of December, so it is a good time. Kimbo J Slice, EC Breaking Co.
Hey, perfect. The best breaker in
Find
the
a better
world.
shirt next episode.
What?
Me?
Find a better shirt. Looks like you
Me?
Yeah, you.
What? It's my Jurassic Park shirt. Fuck you.
Okay. Yeah, it's a little raggedy.
What a
Oh,
slob.
Andy, I will literally come up there and beat your fucking ass.
You ragamuffin, Shane.
I'll come up there and I will drag your ass.
Look at Ken's East Coast Breaking
Polo.
Co shirt, professional polo.
You were.
And then we got-
Andy, am I getting this because you're pissed that I shit on the Steelers? They suck.
You killed the Hawaiian shirt.
No, I think it looks like you need a shower. I think it looks like you.
I took a shower before the show. Fuck you.
You literally have
No, I
the
need
day
to
off
know.
today and just got out of your bed just to host the show.
It's
I
true.
think
He's
that's
been in
what
his bed
happened.
all day.
Andy, first of all, I'll kill you. Second of all, I'll kill you. Third of all, you'll be talking about me on the show as your favorite murderer because I'll kill you.
Hey.
How I'll be talking about it.
If
when
that
you're
happens,
away.
I will
That
have to
was a
rethink
terrible
What'd you say, Ken?
attempt, Shane.
If that happens, I will rethink who my favorite murderer is.
Oh, perfect. Anyways, before I was harassed by Andy, I'm gonna sue him for libel. But anyways, you can find me at ask_Shane_27 or at Ask Us Sports. Definitely join one of Ken's breaks, best breaker in the world. Fade Viggy Betts at all costs. If you want to win money, fade him. Follow what's his name? Troy Hermo. He's the best. He's the best
guy. Wow.
He's the best. He's the best handicapper in the thing. Fuck you, Andy.
What a monster.
But yeah, love you guys.
I think you have the wrong socks hat on, Shane.
Can't hear you.
Sox fan?
Can't hear you. We're going away.
What an animal.